In this video I want to talk about two really big releases for No Man's Sky, and what's more, this is a fantastic release for a space game on consoles. So we've got the Switch release of No Man's Sky along with the big new release 4.0 which is called Waypoint. Now when it comes to the Switch as a console, it's a little limited when it comes to quality space games. That changes now with No Man's Sky, which in my opinion is one of the best space games out there. As you can see on the screen right here, it runs really well on the Switch. Although that said, the resolution is somewhat on the low side, but I think that's to be expected and I don't think anyone is going to be surprised about that or really have any problem with it. In terms of gameplay, there's over 20 major updates that have been released for No Man's Sky, and the Switch version includes them all. Although that said, at the time of recording, it hadn't yet updated, the Switch version hadn't yet updated to the Waypoint 4.0 version. That's coming hopefully later in the day. Either way, we'll be taking a look at 4.0 in just a moment, so do stick around for that. For now, here's a few quick thoughts on the Switch release. Now, as I've been running around, I've been very impressed with the complexity of all the scenes and just how well that the Switch handles all of this. Whether I've been down on the ground or up in space, I've not seen any signs of any slowdown. In short, to all intents and purposes, you've got an infinite universe here right in your hands and the ability to fly and walk through all of it. At this point, No Man's Sky is a pretty well-known game, but it's highly likely there's going to be a lot of new players out there that don't really know too much about it. With that in mind, I do have an overview video for No Man's Sky coming up very soon, so do keep an eye out for that in a few days. Suffice to say, there's plenty here regardless of your particular playstyle. So whether you like a real challenge of a deep survival game, or whether you're more into creative modes, or you like a bit of an epic journey and some story, well, there's something here for you, and you can even mix and match. There's only one real issue, as far as I can see it at least. That is, if you already have No Man's Sky on another platform and you've just picked it up on Switch, there's unfortunately no way to use a cross-save, no way to bring your save across. But that has always been an issue, that's the way it's always been with No Man's Sky, so I guess it's not really something to grumble about. But that said, it would be a nice to have. The bottom line here then, for the Switch, this is No Man's Sky in its full glory. It's everything you can expect, know and love from the title, and it works extremely well on this new console. So yeah, that's the lowdown on the Switch update. Talking of updates, let's talk more about the 4.0 Waypoint update. So this is the latest update for No Man's Sky. It's available right now on PC, as well as the consoles, and hopefully later in the day also on the Switch. Now, unlike the other 20 or so updates, this one doesn't deliver any significant new content. But what it does is bring a whole bunch of new quality of life changes. I'll discuss a few of the big changes here in the video, and then link the patch notes below so you can see everything else yourself. So one of the most obvious features immediately off the bat is some improvements to the graphics. The place this is most noticeable is in the Nexus, the anomaly. Although that said, there have been some improvements made elsewhere as well. Now if you're familiar with No Man's Sky, you'll probably immediately notice the improvements right here. If not, here's a few screenshots for you to compare. Both of these are running on PC on ultra settings. This is the previous version of the Nexus Hub. And coming on screen right now, we can see the new version. You can see there's a few improvements here, making it far more atmospheric. Elsewhere, we can see some improvements to the graphics and effects around the portals here. There's also been equal improvements, very nice improvements actually, to the tractor beams that bring you into the stations. The change that's perhaps going to capture most people's imaginations though is the new difficulty settings menu. You can access this at any time during your gameplay, and it allows you to completely customize your game. As you can see, we can change survival elements, we can set them to none, health only, hazards or full. Do the same here with survival difficulty, relaxed, standard, challenging. Resource collection, for those of you like me who are not a big fan of collecting resources, we can have abundant resources, leave them at standard or set them to scarce. Sprint in can be set to infinite, relaxed, standard. In fact, just about every single setting of the game can be customized to your personal taste. It effectively even allows you to go as far as using a creative mode, using building items at no cost in a regular normal playthrough. So yeah, you're no longer forced to choose between normal, survival or creative. You can actually customize your own version. This is a really big deal and is very, very welcome. One thing I did notice though, and I'm not sure why this is, or maybe someone in the comment section can help out, I noticed the inventory stack limits can't be changed. They seem to be greyed out there. You can see that's currently set on standard, but we can't switch it out. Not quite sure why. Now, talking of inventories, a pretty huge change has been made. Now, I know some people who have played No Man's Sky are not that big fans of the inventory management and find the limited resource capacity for carrying somewhat problematic. In that case, you'll probably be glad to hear that the inventory has been changed. Right here, we can see the original version of the inventory tabbed. So we've got General, Technology and Cargo. That has been swapped out to now look like this. We've got everything on a single screen. Technology and Cargo, the regular inventory and cargo sections have been merged into one. Each slot in the cargo can now carry a far greater weight or far greater number of items. According to Sean Murray, a tweet from him earlier today, the tech slots can be upgraded to a total of 60 slots, whilst we can upgrade to a total of 120 cargo slots. I haven't actually tested this out myself. But one thing I have tested, and it seems to be at odds and contradiction with what Sean is saying here, is that tech can be packaged into cargo too. Now I assume here by packaged he means the tech can be uninstalled from the tech slots and then stored in the cargo. On the other hand, if he means that tech can be installed into the cargo holds onto the cargo slots, that doesn't seem to be the case. Judging by some of the comments I've seen around Reddit and elsewhere on the internet, a lot of people seem to feel this is somewhat of a nerf, as prior to now you could install tech in the cargo slots. But then again, if we can upgrade to 60 tech slots here, then just maybe it's not too much of a nerf, but it does mean that players are going to need to go around and unlock these additional slots. But that said, with the ability now to go into the difficulty mode and change the setting to free purchases, at least temporarily, it shouldn't be too much of an issue to get these very quickly and rapidly unlocked. Now, in case you're feeling that 180 slots inside your inventory might be a bit too much to manage, there are some very handy filters here, and these are pretty easy to use. Elsewhere in the update, the game now has seamless autosaves. This is a big improvement because before you pretty much used to have to manually save or save when exiting your ship. There's also a new trade rocket which can be deployed from any location and allows you to sell items onto the onto the trade network from any location you choose. The PC version has been updated to include FSR2. There's a new relaxed mode for gameplay if you don't want to customize your own version. The catalogue and guides has also been updated and improved to allow you to keep track of just about everything. And a quality of life improvement that I'm personally especially happy with is the new crafting trees. My memory's not all that good when it comes to these types of things, so it now means I won't have to tab out of the game to figure out which order to build things in. So overall then, another really nice update from Hello Games. The inventory changes do seem to be a little bit controversial, at least at the moment, but beyond that, it all seems to be coming together very nicely. And again, very impressed with the Switch version so far as well. Do let me know your thoughts and feelings on all of this in the comments section below. Have you picked up the Switch version? Do you plan on doing that? Have you tried 4.0 yet? That then brings us to the end of this video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.